Hey everybody, this is Chris with Retro Crypt. I just wanted to jump on here real quick and do this video about Jason David Frank, who we tragically lost a couple weeks ago due to suicide. If you or anybody else is battling these issues, please get the appropriate help. So I wanted to do a watch along / commentary / tribute by watching the Green with Evil series, which came out in, I believe, 1993, so almost 30 years ago now. I remember watching this as a kid. I didn't really watch Power Rangers a lot after the initial 3 seasons. After that, I pretty much just fell off with Power Rangers, but still, those first 3 seasons were really awesome. I watched them as a kid. I was more of a Ninja Turtles fan, and I kind of got into Power Rangers a little bit after it came out. Friends and kids in school were really into the Power Rangers. I was, again, more of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. I know that it was, the Ninja Turtles were kind of like old hat at that point. But again, I got into Power Rangers. I got the figures, which were really cool. You know, they had a lot of cool toys with, I think they were like these 9 to 12 inch figures. I forget the size exactly, but they're really cool. They had articulated limbs, feet, and hands. Again, the Megazord was a cool toy. So anyway, I just wanted to do a watch along, and I am going to start. This is Green with Evil, Part 1, in 3, 2, 1, begin. Okay, so we're starting at the title song / the beginning, theme song, Power Rangers. Song was always pretty cool. It's very catchy. It always pops into my head. So the original cast, we had the Red Ranger, Yellow Ranger, and the Black Ranger right out of the box there, and those 3 left over a pay dispute. I guess they were getting paid really poorly in the beginning. It was apparently a non-union job production, and the show was making millions upon millions of dollars, and they weren't really getting paid that well, so they all decided to walk. That'll come into play later. So here we got, they're doing a martial arts competition in the rec center here. Jason, aka Austin St. John, is getting ready to fight Tommy Oliver, played by Jason David Frank. So they're warming up, they're getting ready to fight, and Rita and her minions are spying in on him. Turn the captions on here. I thought these foam suits were pretty cool. I mean, I know they're kind of like, it's a little cheese, but they are pretty cool. So we got a lot of spin kicks going on. We got Jason ahead. Red Ranger Jason. It gets a little confusing because the character of Jason was played by Austin St. John. His real name was, I believe, Jason Geiger. So his real name is Jason as well. And then you have Jason David Frank. So I guess for the sake of the show and not getting too confused, I'll just call him call them Tommy and Jason. Jason is the Red Ranger, Tommy is the Green Ranger. So we got Tommy ahead 2 points. Nice little spin kick. We got Jason back trailing by 1. The fight choreography here isn't bad at all. And I did martial arts for many years. Watched tons of martial arts movies, so not like I'm an expert or aficionado or anything, more of a fan. I would say that fight scene is choreographed pretty good. Ended in a draw. Good way to protect both characters. We don't have anybody with the upper hand just yet. And now we got Kimberly noticing Tommy. Trini is kind of swooning as well. You know, when I was a kid, obviously, Amy Jo Johnson was like everybody's crush. Looking back on it, you know, I have more of an appreciation of Trini. God rest her soul. She passed away in 2001, I believe, in a horrible car accident. Bulk and Skull. Skull's always trying to push up on Kimberly. Again, the multiple spin kicks of Tommy Oliver coming into play. Watching this as a kid, I was always extremely annoyed by them, but you realize, you know, how things are written when you're an adult, and you're like, they're just the comic relief. They're supposed to be stupid. They're both still around, kicking, doing comic cons and stuff, which is great. So they're trying to set up a date here. Yep. Yeah, she, huge crush. So we're back in Rita's palace. And she's plotting on Tommy, saying a bunch of crazy stuff. As most people notice, this was made off of the Japanese show Super Sentai, which is, you know, admittedly I never watched it. I just heard. I knew it as far as back as when the show first came out, because somebody told me, they were like, you know, it's not really them when they're in the suits, it's from a different show, and they just kind of like edited it together, which I thought was really cool. Now they're doing the battle with the putties. I know you gotta use suspension of disbelief, and this is all for entertainment purposes, but it's like, okay, like a bunch of gray dudes, just full gray suits and masks, just jump me in a alleyway. I always thought it was funny how it sounds like every time you hit a putty, it's like dink, dink, dink. It's like you're hitting metal. Figure if they were that hard, then, you know, maybe they wouldn't be so easy to beat. Yeah, Rita really, Rita really has a boner for him. And you could tell that's an example of the editing when she appears on top of the building to zap Tommy into her palace. Like, that's not even the actress that played Rita Repulsa. So they got Tommy wrapped up in some weird altar right now. Saying some weird incantation, arise my Green Ranger. Yeah, I really don't remember. I remember this I don't know, slew of episodes, I guess you could say. It was a big deal. I think I was in probably like 4th grade when this came out. And kids were all talking about it, like, oh, there's a new Ranger. It's kind of crazy because Jason the Red Ranger was definitely, you know, the leader. And Jason kind of just swooped in and stole his whole shine, and that's probably why they had beef later in life. From what I've read and just saw on YouTube, it was mostly Jason David Frank. Not to throw dirt on the guy's name, I know he just passed away and everything, but it was mostly him just kind of like taking pot shots, and Austin St. John just really didn't. He seemed like completely unbothered and didn't care at all. We got Zordon trying to talk reason into Tommy, and Tommy's just going berserk and fucking up the whole command center, just breaking everything. No, Zordon. Oh wow. It's weird seeing Tommy as a bad guy. He's effective though as a villain. I feel like this has like a Jim Henson feel to it. The creature designs. I think the production company of Super Sentai was called Toei, the Japanese company. And they're the ones. Could be wrong. Probably am. They're the ones that created the monster effects and everything. Rita throws the wand, her magic wand, and makes Goldar grow. But in these older shows, like on the first season, Goldar would seem like much more of a threat. After that, he was just kind of like a scrub. It's crazy to see these people as not old people. I mean, I am old people, so you know, trying not to use the term old people, but I mean, they're old now. They're about 10 years older than I am. Jason David Frank, when he passed away, was exactly 10 years older. So it's like when you think of Power Rangers, you think of them like this, and then when you see their Instagram and you see them older, it's kind of like a mind, blows your mind a little bit. It's like when you see Van Damme now, you're like, holy crap. I don't think of him as like an old man. I just think of him as, you know, his character in Bloodsport or Kickboxer or something like that. Alpha. I've always hated Alpha. I always thought he was the most annoying character. I guess Jason put a CD in him before. That was a computer virus or something, and he started acting all funny. It's Golar. He's huge, and the Air Force isn't anywhere in sight to nuke this guy. It's morphin' time. Putty Patrol. They sound like turkeys. Dinosaur power. And where are all these characters coming from? Does like the Triceratops come from the Sahara Desert all the way to Angel Grove? Does the saber-toothed tiger come from the jungle? Does the pterodactyl come from an actual volcano? Again, suspension of disbelief, but things that you notice. Power up your crystal. Probably should have looked it up if Toei has anything to do with Voltron, because this isn't like a blatant, or maybe Voltron ripped off, because Super Sentai came out, if I'm not mistaken, in the 70s, possibly? I don't know which one's older. I probably should have looked that up in my research, but I didn't think about it until just now. And if these things are gigantic, why do they move like they're regular sized people? Like you could see in some scenes that they kind of slow it down a little bit. They put it into slow motion, so it seems like they're huge, but other scenes not so much. So Tommy just jumped inside of the Megazord, kicking everybody out. I feel like Zordon didn't train them too well if one guy is just beating all five of their ass. Think you're so tough, take me on. again, in research for this video, I've heard that in Super Sentai that the green just did a Hadouken and blew everybody up. So Green and Red Ranger in Super Sentai are apparently brothers, and there's a whole family backstory. That's a little too on the nose. It's like every story, though, they're brothers or they're cousins or some crap. Alpha just shut down. He bent over right in front of Billy. Oh, there goes, up. Wonder if Alpha's okay. To be continued, dun dun dun. So that was episode 1. Overall, does it stand the test of time? I mean, I guess it's an early 90s kids show. It's got a lot of nostalgia. Even if I wasn't doing this episode as like a tribute / watch along regarding the recent events with Jason David Frank. Here's episode 2 starting up right now. I mean, I didn't see the new movie, the reboot. I thought it looked cool, but I was just like, I probably would watch the show again. Rewatch the show just for nostalgia purposes. Saying earlier, Jason David Frank apparently had a dust up with Jean-Claude Van Damme at a certain point. And again, I wasn't really following him or the goings on of the characters. Whatever they had going on. I heard there was a couple people passed away, like Trini. But I just heard in passing that he had some issues with Jean-Claude Van Damme at a Comic-Con type show. I guess Van Damme wanted to use his green room. They said they could share it, and then Jason David Frank went somewhere. He came back. It was all blocked off, and then Van Damme confronted him. Everybody had their cameras out. They were essentially just trying to goad Jason David Frank into a fight because he had challenged Van Damme to an MMA fight a couple of years prior, and Van Damme didn't respond. So I guess they were in the same place at the same time, and Van Damme wanted to make him look foolish, but Jason David Frank apparently put hands on him, and it just got broken up, and nothing ever came of it. So the Green Ranger debuted in the last episode. His character was only originally set to be in 14 shows, but I guess due to his popularity, he was written in as a permanent character and eventually became the White Ranger. I don't remember the exact chronology or anything like that, but apparently that combined with the fact that Austin St. John was unhappy with his pay in the show, which I don't really blame him. The show was making like hundreds of millions, or I think they said even into the billions, and he was basically getting paid like $611 per week, which is ridiculous. So I guess everything kind of all culminated together. You know, everything came to a head, I should say. The unhappiness of Austin with his pay. He tried to band everybody together and get them all to quit the show. And only Walter Jones and I think it's Tui Trang, Trini's real name. They're the only ones that followed. That's what he was trying to do, Austin St. John. He was trying to band everybody together and walk off the show, strike essentially for better payment. It probably would have worked, but I understand why the other people stayed. They probably thought, you know, what do I do? What if they don't call me back? What if they just say screw it and replace everybody? So Tommy's back in Angel Grove. He's evil now. He's using green laser beams to fly Bulk and Skull into a dumpster. That was funny. I mean, ultimately the red, black, and yellow Rangers the originals leaving the show definitely to me hurt the show. Obviously, it didn't stop them. They had a lot of momentum at that point, but they should have kept the original cast. Jason's putting in work on the heavy bag at the rec center here. He's like, oh, let's talk about how we're the Power Rangers, but we gotta whisper so nobody hears. Maybe the guy's working for Rita. I have my suspicions. It's a little obvious. Zach. God, Alpha's so annoying. I think his name is David Yost, Billy. I think he was the oldest person on the show, or oldest of the Power Rangers. You blew Kimberly off. This is some 90210 level drama right here. Newsflash, Kimberly. You're not the center of everybody's universe. Tommy Oliver is not a simp. It's like, I know Kimberly's cute and everything, but why is she pressing him like that? Once you have this sword of darkness. I feel like they're wasting a lot of time here. He just beat 5 buddies or so in the alleyway. Why does he have to do this now at the beach? It took a while for the show to grow on me, but for a couple of years I really loved it. And I mean, rewatching this, I could see why it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's silly as anything, but it's still it's very entertaining. You know, it's not super deep. It's, you know, not hard to sorry, I got distracted. The choreography of the putties always cracks me up. The show is just easily digested entertainment. And I guess Jason David Frank, he said he was like a 3rd or 4th degree black belt or something during the filming of this, and then he became an 8th degree black belt. He always he says, you know, a true martial artist never is humble and this and that, but then he would say, you know, I went in for this audition and there's people, he's got this sort of, the dark sword or whatever, sword of darkness, there we go. Oh, he's going after the Red Ranger first. Of course, he wants to steal a spot. I forgot what I was saying before. You guys seen that new guy, Tommy? Tommy used the green, I don't know, light ray or whatever the hell that was, to absorb Jason and bring him to this poorly constructed set. Can't even say it's poorly constructed, but it's, you know, it's an early 90s kids show. You kind of know what you're getting when you see it. This set kind of reminds me of that show, I think it was Nick Arcade. I should probably watch some episodes of that on here too. That would be cool. Oh yeah, you don't have your fucking teleporter, whatever that thing is. I don't know why, but I don't remember them having a flying car. And of course, it's a Volkswagen Beetle. Little Herbie reference. The cuts in this, watching this now are so obvious. It's like you can tell where the Japanese footage starts and ends. Like, it's so grainy. Not that the American footage is much better. Obviously, due to it being 30 years old, it's not going to look fantastic. Holy shit. Cross your fingers, Rangers. I wonder if Alpha could unclog the shitter if he needed to. Let's morph and get this green dude, but we need Jason. Give me my power morpher. You're just wasting time at this point. Like, you could have killed him 50 times already. Nice sidekick. But I mean, he's a huge monster. I can't imagine you doing much damage to him without like a sword or something. Typical bad guy monologuing, just wasting time. It's more from time. Yes, you can see the obvious dip in camera quality. It really did blow my mind when I found out that it's not really them in the suits. Behold the power of the Sword of Darkness. Yeah, so this, not this show, but the first show that Jason was on, Tommy Oliver, it was October 5th, 1993, so just over 29 years ago. I always like the Black Ranger's helmet. Like the tusks. All right, let's keep it together. How do they have the Tyrannosaurus but Jason's not there? I guess it's like AI. Yeah, I feel like the original series was longer than 3 seasons. I guess it's because there was, well, it's a season 1 was 60 episodes, season 2 was 52, and season 3 was 33. So it's not like The Walking Dead or something like that, where it's, 6 to 10 episodes, or like most shows aren't 60 episodes. Rainbow Studios. Studios was the company that made the video, made the suits, the monster suits and stuff. So I guess partway through season 2, it was supposed to be 40 episodes, but due to the Power Rangers popularity, it got bumped up to 52 episodes. But I guess they ran out of the Japanese footage and had to contact Toei and Rainbow Studios to create more footage. Which goes to show you the lengths that they would go to keep this train moving. I mean, if it made $1 billion, of course they're not going to stop. And apparently Haim Saban, the guy behind the whole show, he tried to do this back in, I guess, the 70s, and it didn't work. Or maybe the 80s even. Oh, you almost got your hand chopped off, Jason. He's trying to get his power morpher. I'm finally ready to end this game. And then, what do? To be continued. Haim Saban and Shuki Levy, executive producers. Alright, so I might as well power through it, no pun intended. Green with Evil Part 3. Yeah, I can't believe the Red Ranger, the original Red Ranger, Austin St. John, left midway through season 2, along with the Black and Yellow Rangers due to pay dispute. Halfway through season 2. I guess it would have more of an impact on people than you would think, because if they only lasted a season and a half, you would think that they would have very little impact, but people remember the original cast more than the people that replaced them. Like, I have like a vague recollection of the people that replaced them. Nothing against them, but they just weren't as impactful as the original cast. It's like 1.5 foot of fog, and he can't find Jason. Scorpina. Is that a giant turd or something, or is that a rock? What am I looking at here? Is that a piece of coal? Yeah, she's pretty hot, I'm not gonna lie. She was 33 or in her 30s or something. They're trying to find Zordon right now. I guess after Jason pulled all the plugs out and threw some switches, that Zordon's lost in the, I don't know, somewhere in the digital world. I don't really remember it sounds like a broken record, but I don't remember where Zordon came from or what he is. I vaguely remember the movie, the first movie, where like he dies and he's all laid out and gotta go find Jason. It's time to split up. Probably should have did that earlier. He's like right in front of him and you don't see him. Oh, nah, you see him. Oh. Or maybe he doesn't. Yeah, no, I can't believe he doesn't see him. Then he just took like the biggest step over him. He could have just stomped on his face right then. Oh. It's one thing Jason David Frank says in a lot of the interviews that I searched up in preparation for this. He's always like, oh, nobody does the he-ahs like I would. And it's like, all due respect to him because he just did pass, but it's like if you say you're humble and a real martial artist doesn't say these things, then why do you turn around and say them yourself? I did martial arts for a lot of years, and it's like, we all know the central tenets of martial arts. It's like, don't pick on people who, are weaker than you, etc. But there's also that, edge of, I guess, intimidation that knowing how to fight brings. And it's like Muhammad Ali. He would talk shit to all of his opponents to try and get inside their head. It's that trash talk element. You can be very humble, but still trash talk to try and get that mental edge over people. So it makes sense. So you don't understand that Tommy's acting funny. They're treating him like he's one of their friends, and he barely talks to them, and then when he does talk to them, he's like a complete douche. The actress that played Rita Repulsa passed away a few years back. I think she was only 62. If I'm not mistaken, the actor that played Zordon as well passed away. So now they're searching for Tommy. They found him in the park. They're going to get in a battle with the putties. Again, not a soul is around. No police, no nothing. This fight scene's not terrible. Kimberly, who, oh wow, what the hell are they doing with this? It's like a hip hop 8-minute abs video for a second. That Tybo music. Alright, so they all teleported out of there. Yeah, one thing I was saying before about Jason David Frank in his interview, he was saying that whenever he would go to auditions and somebody would say like "hee-haw" the wrong way, he said that they weren't real martial artists. I mean, he had way more experience than I did, but again. It's kind of like pumping yourself up by putting other people down. Which again, I don't know. All due respect to the guy. He was a hero to a lot of people. I definitely wish he was still here. But, you know, in preparation for this, I just read and saw a lot of unflattering things. And again, Austin St. John just always seemed completely unbothered and seemed like a much more down-to-earth, like Jason David Frank always seemed to be like always in character, kind of like David Lee Roth, how you would never know who he really is behind closed doors because he's always like always in character. So anyway, they're having a kind of foreshadowing here. They're battling each other in this Nick Arcade knockoff studio. Green and Red Rangers. Because Tommy teleported in, told Goldar to beat it. That he wants to defeat Jason himself. Yeah, Scorpina was pretty hot, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really get into Asian chicks until later. So, watching this back, Trini and Scorpina were, you know, kind of with Amy Jo Johnson. Dark Power Sword. A lot of evil laughing going on and no action being taken. Teleported him out right before getting stabbed. I feel like Billy is probably the most level-headed of all of them. I read that. David Yost. I hope that's his name. I know that it's Yost, but the Blue Ranger had to leave the show because of bullying on the set, because he was gay, which, if true, is terrible. Demoted. So Goldar told him, look, you failed. You gotta stay down here. again, I don't remember Goldar being this serious. In the later seasons, he was just kind of like a jobber essentially. Like in wrestling, when they had the guys back in the day, they had the guys that would get like 2% offense. They might get like 2 punches in before getting smashed. But in this one, he's pretty dangerous. Oh, Alpha hasn't seen Scorpina in 10,000 years. She looks good for her age. Yeah, watching some career retrospectives with Austin St. John, he seemed like a very down to earth guy. I guess he became an overseas paramedic and was just doing like a real quote unquote real job. It just seems kind of unbothered by all the bullshit. Whereas Jason David Frank was like, look at me, I stay in shape. Unlike Austin St. John, taking little shots here and there. Alright, so we got Scorpina battling the Power Rangers. She just slashed the Red Ranger. Scorpina and Goldar having a little lovers quarrel. I think Jason David Frank just really wanted to continue to hype conflict to keep himself. Not to say that he was irrelevant, but he wanted to be more relevant and try and challenge. I read that he at one point challenged CM Punk to a fight, which I would have liked to have seen. He probably would have smashed CM Punk if we're being honest. I saw one of his JDF's fights on YouTube recently, and yeah, I don't know, man. He got taken down like a sack of potatoes. And the guy he was fighting was a lot bigger. He was kind of like grounding and pounding him. And it kind of looks like he just let JDF get top control. I could be wrong, but it looked a little funny to me. I guess Green Ranger's, he's pissed off in the dungeon, and he's doing. He's shadowboxing. I'll be waiting to crush the Power Rangers. Is it? Not for nothing though. His voiceovers are really good. They got Zordon's almost back. Yeah, I read that. In '95, Jason David Frank met Jean-Claude Van Damme at an event and found him rude.
So he ended up challenging him to a fight in 2010. I mean, that's kind of weird to hold a grudge against somebody for that long. Again, just positing here, but I really think he just was doing and saying stuff to keep himself in the headlines. Like, over the years, I heard he could be a tool. That definitely doesn't mean that I'm happy that, he took himself out. I wish he was still here. He had kids. To be continued. That was part 3. Alright, let's get through. I think I'm going to cut it off here because I got to go to work tomorrow. There's 2 more episodes of the Green with Evil series. I'm going to put this video out first, and then I'm going to complete it. The last 2 episodes, probably do some better research for the next 2. I promise nothing. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.